Hi everyone, got Danny Thompson from Agon College with me this morning. I was privileged. Danny invited me out there to Switzerland a few weeks ago, and it really opened my eyes to the overseas world of a director of sport that I'd never really considered. So I thought it'd be good to have a chat with Danny this morning, and he could maybe explain, his role at Agon and what inspired him really to work overseas. So thanks, Danny, for coming on. So, what did inspire you to apply for a job overseas?
Well, good morning, Chris. Good to see you again. Yes, so yes, director of sport. Really, I, I fell into the role initially. It progressed. So obviously, I started teaching at Cheadle Hulme School in Manchester as an NQT, and I could have been stayed there for years. I progressed from an NQT to a head of football to head of boys. Then got offered the role of director of sport. But then it was probably more my wife, who's a business and economic teacher. She had the itch to get out there and explore the world. Um, so we just had a chat. We thought to ourselves, look, we could stay here forever or we could go and give it a go.
Yeah,
Um, and then what's the worst thing that could happen? We just come home. So
yeah,
we thought we'd go and try it, and then got the opportunity to go to Harrow International School in Hong Kong. And that was a really exciting project for me. It was a blank canvas. It was a new school, quite unique. It was opening on day one with 1,500 kids, which is
oh,
crazy because
yeah,
you think a new school, you might phase it in slowly, but this school opened it up. And yeah, it was just really exciting in terms of a blank canvas.
yeah,
And then I look back at that moment and I say to everybody, look, it was the best decision of my life, just in terms of it opened my eyes
yeah,
to different cultures, different
yeah,
people, not just the kids, but the staff. So I was working with Kiwis and Aussies and Americans and Chinese, and it was pretty cool. It was
yeah,
really really cool. And like I said, it for me, I found when we were working in England, we're very much it's this way, and we're
yeah,
going to do it this way. Whereas I just learned from the different cultures and
yeah,
again, I speak about the Kiwis. The Kiwis are the best people in the world in terms of they know when to work, but they know when to have a laugh and that
yeah,
balance. And I was very privileged to work with some good people there. We had our head of rugby play for the All Blacks, our head of football played for Ireland. So we had real good people um, around us. So yes, that is why I fell into it. And then after that, we came home. We did 6 years in Hong Kong, and then we came home to back to England. We had a little boy. Went to London at KCS Wimbledon, and then Stockport Grammar School. But we just missed that
yeah,
international, open-minded
yeah,
sort of attitude. You know what? We can try things. If it doesn't work, we try something different. That's where we are now here in Switzerland, and again working at a bonkers school in a good
yeah.
way in terms of we're a blank canvas. We created opportunities with Manchester City, Bear Grylls, Lindsay Vonn. That's where we are, and yeah, I just think
Yeah.
international teaching has been the best decision of my life, really.
Yeah, good. And I
Because
must
again, the
admit,
worst thing that happens, you just
yeah,
come home and you go again.
obviously I've seen your PE
So
program, the
yeah,
way you've built that up over the last couple of years, and it is nice to have that freedom. What did you face any challenges,
yeah.
transitioning, and how did you overcome those?
I wouldn't say challenges because I think if you've got that inkling to move abroad, I think you know not know what you're going to get into, but you're more open minded in terms of you know what we're going to try it. It's going to be different, but we you just got to roll your socks up and go. And
Yeah,
yeah, again, I think when we moved out there, I always describe it to people: you're on a roller coaster.
hmm,
Because sometimes you'll have major highs, you're in a new city, a new experience, but then you might start feeling a bit homesick and you have family issues at home and you feel guilty for being out there, but then it's up and down. And I would always say to people, if you do take that leap to go abroad, stick at it for a minimum 2 years.
yeah,
Because again, you speak to so many people out in those countries that they say, oh yeah, the plan's just 2 years.
hmm,
And 25 years later, they're still there.
yeah,
Um, so there were different challenges, but yeah, I think the type of people who take that leap
yeah.
are open minded and up for a challenge. I would say.
And working in that international environment and culture, how's that influenced your own leadership?
Again, just touching upon working with different people, with different mindsets, different cultures. Um, yeah, just that just brought more, yeah, more experience really from that. And in terms of my leadership style, I think in international schools as well, I think there's more flexibility in terms of professional growth.
Mm.
So I think there's more emphasis on sort of CPD.
Yeah.
Um, again, just the exposure to different cultures, different sporting practices. I think that was really good. Again, I think another benefit really from professional growth is networking opportunities
Yeah.
there, in terms of building contacts with people all around the world. So, like personally, now I could go to New Zealand and I've got mates there I can go and stay with, or I've got mates in America or whatever. You can just go and pick up the phone and go and see them. But those then contacts open doors to other clubs, like in the professional world, possibly where they've got links to that. So it was a real good chance just to open your eyes, like I said.
And that's really healthy, isn't it? The ability to draw upon so many different cultures and ideas instead of almost like, as you referred to earlier, being in sort of a silo. It does open your eyes to other,
Yeah,
experiences, which is fantastic, I think.
yeah. I think it just keeps you on your toes as well, Chris. I think in
Yeah,
terms of though you don't get stuck in a rut. And like I said, moving to Hong Kong, I learned a little bit of Cantonese.
yeah,
Coming to Switzerland, I'm learning a little bit of French, and from the kids here at Eglon, we have 69 different nationalities. So it's like being in a Premier League football changing room in terms
yeah,
of you've got Turkish going on, you've got Arabic, you've got French, and all sorts. So it's actually, yeah, you're growing personally as well. I think if you make that leap to go abroad, just like language, culture, and also I think it takes a lot of guts to leave your comfort zone
yeah.
of
Agreed.
where you've been living. I could have stayed in, like I said, in Manchester forever, but I've gone out there and I've learned a lot about myself and in terms of my resilience and sticking at it. And uh, I think you just grow as a person as well. I think that's another benefit, I guess, of going out there.
And have you noticed many cultural or, priorities are different in overseas schools to schools in the UK?
Um, a little bit. I think there's more of a we'll try things.
Yeah,
Um, and if it goes wrong, so what? Let's go again. Like little things like you would never dream of actually setting up a partnership with Manchester City or a Bear Grylls or a Lindsey Vonn,
yeah,
but they're thinking like, yeah, let's go for it. When,
yeah,
when we were in
yeah,
Harrow in Hong Kong, we set up a partnership with Everton. So it's those sort of things like that where it is a blank canvas. It's seen as, yeah, like let's just try stuff. So it's a bit more not, I wouldn't say not exciting working back at home, but it's more
different.
exciting. There's more
Yeah,
opportunities there. Yeah, and different. And yeah, so I'd definitely say yeah, that's definitely a benefit there in terms of that. And I think also as well, don't think this is going on to another benefit really. What people don't realise is the lifestyle and the financial advantages to moving abroad.
mm,
Because there are some really good packages out there, especially within Asia, Dubai, Switzerland, and some parts of Europe. So when you move out there, it's sometimes tax free. You get a housing allowance, you get children's education, relocation support as well. So they will look after you in that sort of way. So there's and also just opportunities to travel. When we
yeah.
went out there, I think I was 25, and you can travel the world, go on holidays. Yeah, it's cool. Well,
Yeah.
like I said, we said it was the best decision of our life because you can, yeah, you've got traveling on your doorstep, and it's
Yeah.
just a part and parcel of what you do.
So if I'm a director
Um,
of sport listening to this, what advice would you give someone who's considering applying for a role overseas?
um, I guess it's probably not dissimilar than what you would do applying for a job within the UK. I think when I apply for a job, you always want to research the school, and try and do more digging than what's on the websites. Try and be proactive and maybe use LinkedIn as a platform to go and contact people who work at that school or work in that area. Um, I would say set up calls with people because I always think it's really important that before you go for a job, you want to know what type of organisation they are and the people who work there.
Yeah.
We had a conversation just off camera. It's about people.
yeah,
and having right people.
yeah,
So I think doing that, doing your research around the country as well, looking at the different cultural things that are going on, and then yeah, just apply for it in terms of doing it like you would normally online and going through that way. But I think the key thing is making sure you do your research and do your networking
yeah,
beforehand to make sure it's a right fit for you. And like I said, these jobs are quite competitive.
yeah,
Um, but I think if you do that pre-work beforehand, I think it gives you one foot in the door.
yeah.
Because again, how the world works sometimes, it's not what you know, it's who you know
Agreed.
that gets you through that door.
So looking back, what's been the most
Yeah.
rewarding aspect of your overseas experiences?
Um, I would just say just having an impact on the kids, the different cultures of the kids in terms of that. Because I always say PE is the most important subject in the world because of the relationships you make with the
Yeah,
kids and kids wherever they are, whether it's the UK or they're in Hong Kong or Dubai. Kids are kids,
yeah,
and I think again the most rewarding thing for me is just having that impact on the kids and changing the kids' lives. Seeing a kid who loves sport but not quite good enough to play in the teams, how sport you can affect them and give them coaching opportunities or take them to a trip to Real Madrid or something like that.
yeah,
It just changed lives really.
yeah.
So yeah, so I think yeah, teaching England, UK, I think that's been the most rewarding in terms of helping people get better and enjoying that.
And obviously, some people will be nervous, as you've alluded to earlier, about family, particularly if they've got young children, if they've got a
Yeah,
partner, husband or wife. What sort of advice would you give them? People with children coming over and,
yeah,
obviously may have concerns.
yeah, and exactly. So again, two folds on that. I would always say, like we said before, if you're going to come out, give it 2 years to stick at that. Worst case scenario, you come home. If not, you're still out there. Say worst case scenario, wherever you are in the world, you're only 24 hours
Mm,
away from getting back to your family. So
mm,
it's just a flight.
yeah,
In terms of moving out there with kids, do the research on the school. Is fees included on that
yeah,
in the package? Make sure that's happening. Also, as well, if you're coming out with a partner, like so many people do come out with a partner where they come out, one is a teacher, one is not. But again, how the network works, people will
yeah,
always find jobs, whether it's within the school or within the network. And a lot of schools are really accommodating with that. They will help that process.
yeah,
Um, so yeah, and again, just go in with your eyes open. And again, I always say worst case scenario. We said it a lot. You can come home,
yeah.
but you will never regret trying it.
Yeah.
But you might regret not trying it.
Agreed. I think that's good
If that
advice to
makes sense.
finish. Yeah, and it is exciting. I mean, as I said to you when I was out there, it was something I'd never really considered, and I hope something like this might open the eyes to a few directors of sport because it's exciting. I mean, where
Yeah,
you work is a fantastic place to work, but also, you grow as a person, you experience different cultures. There's a lot to be said for it, and I know you're loving it out there and doing a great job out there. So thanks for your time this morning. And I'm sure people will appreciate you sharing with us. So thanks, Danny.